Here we go. The title of this episode is NEOTOMA CINEREA or memory loss. Now I want to apologize for my previous two videos because I knew that I had no live audience. I'm a brilliant lecturer. They've all told me that I've been able to hold crowds of 5,000 in the West Mall for hours without eating, drinking, or going to the bathroom. I never really performed well. I just got back from town a few hours ago and so, but unless I know that there's actually a live human being, unless I can see their faces or they're free to give me feedback like on radio or on other, I don't perform as well. And you may not like my first two videos. I don't care. I was fatigued. So let me get on with the point here, which is that, yes, it's a little bit warm. We're alternating between cool breezes and sun and cloudy suns, and I want to get up there because in the first video I realized that I had a wattle here, and I realized I was the first in my family that had that, and figure out why I had a wattle, which is because unlike my siblings, the oldest of which is 86 now, I've spent more time with my head bowed writing and reading than any member of my family. So, and also I have these huge, if you look at it, I have these huge neck. I used to have a 20-inch neck all the time, just at relaxed head. See all those neck muscles? I can even watch this wiggle my ears. That's not very good. It gets better. I actually can do about 1.5 centimeters, but the point I want to make is that about 8 years ago, I told a doctor who's now out of practice because he's just too fucking old, too stupid. I walked out on him one day and he left immediately because he realized what he had said. He could have gotten his ass whipped. I'm not above punching somebody out for being stupid. I don't give a shit if you're a doctor or whatever it is. I can be an explosively violent person when I need to be. Number one rules is never disrespect me, ever. So, it's actually about 8 years ago. I told this doctor I said, "Doctor, I'm noticing the natural compression of my memory, but I'm also having some short-term memory problems and stuff. I'm forgetting, what I just said or what somebody else said, or forgetting where I put something, and then 7 years later, because it was about 10 months ago, that for the first time I spotted NEOTOMA CINEREA, which is the only attractive pack rat. I won't tell you what, these little vegan freaks are just such psychotic little, they're just oh gosh, what a pain in the ass. Pardon me, I think I'm going to have me some of that purple drink. See, since it ain't in a bottle, it can't be wine, it's purple drink. Okay? Please, I've had a very busy day. So, about 10 months ago, I spotted this cute little rodent that was just so hyper, and actually I was, being a biologist, biochemist, etc., and scientist in general, I was more interested in studying it than killing it, even though it was. But one of the things I noticed right off the bat, it wasn't attacking my wiring that bad or whatever. It was actually scaring off other other things that people call varmints and stuff like that, scaring off other rodents. It actually scared off my opossums, which, I'll tell you the truth, after I overcame my prejudice against opossums, I found out that they're super intelligent. They can And just a matter of one night, you can teach them both hand and voice commands with just little food rewards. You can actually teach them to take. They're quite intelligent, despite the fact that they're ancient marsupials. But this NEOTOMA cinerea, who was the mother of my current crop, which is kind of retarded, but it was, at first it was very hard, because I said, like, well, I'll try traps, etc. Actually, they don't sell good glue traps anymore, and this thing's very hip to live traps, and I very quickly figured out that it's a straight up vegan. It has to be pregnant and in desperate need of lots of calories to deliver, to indulge in any sort of animal material. Typical vegan, right? So anyway, you know, over the years, going back 9 years, which actually that's what triggered it, is that the discovery that, see, I thought they were a new arrival. I'd never seen a pack rat in my life until I got a look at it, and I went through the pictures and found out that it was, the species was NEOTOMA cinerea, C-I-N-E-R-E-A. And don't try to tell me I'm pronouncing it wrong, because almost all MDs have no language training and mispronounce almost every word they say, so don't give any crap. Guess what? This is probably going to go 15 minutes because this is such an interesting case. You know what? If you're in your 50s or your 60s and you think you're having memory problems, you might want to keep an eye out for the entirely nocturnal, and sometimes if they really like your house or property, they will become bullies. It actually took me 9 years to find out that they can be little harassing bullies and stuff like that. But you'll notice little things missing. Your lighter, they love lighters. My small screwdrivers that I use for electronics and other stuff like that would just, and because many years ago I got to the point to where I just was losing that due to injuries, you know, like a couple of bad burns, etc. I was losing my neat freak nature, and let me make sure that goes into a fire-free zone. Anyway, a long time ago, I started going like, where did I put that? You know, just things started disappearing and stuff like that. And after this NEOTOMA showed up, NEOTOMA cinerea, this pack rat showed up. It's a lovely little creature. It looks like a little squirrel, real cute, super intelligent, super fast. I mean, oh my God, the minute you make, you know, it may pop out, make eye contact when you, but it's actually has some of the best nocturnal, just the thing can see in almost complete blackness, no light, you know, needed. It's incredible night vision, etc. A totally nocturnal creature. Trust me, you'll never see it during the day, or it may take it a decade to get used to your lighting before you ever realize that you don't have a memory problem, you have a NEOTOMA problem. I'm serious about that. So, you can look it up. NEOTOMA CINEREA. I'm not going to give you links. Do your own work, because that's the way you remember things best, is when you write it down or you type it in. Don't ask Google. Screw them. You know, I do all my Google searches now by typing. It's only by in writing that it sticks in your memory. And this is what I'm talking about. I was worried about developing, you know, I already kind of understood, you know, the nature of memory is that you must compress old memories to make room for new memories, but there should be no reason for short-term memory loss. And I found that most of my short-term memory loss was due to the NEOTOMA cinerea, that it actually, I found out only recently, had invaded my space at least 9 years ago. Didn't see them for over 8+ years. Only recently I went to sit down on my giant, very expensive, 8-foot-long, high-backed, orthopedically correct sofa and stuff like that, super. Yeah. And I saw something sticking out of the bottom, and I said, what's that? And I reached down and picked it up, and there was a pill bottle bearing the date that I got out of the emergency room, November 18th, 9 years ago. And all 20 pills were in the bottle. It had come into my space, stolen it, hidden it in a hollow tree or whatever, because if you want to see it, it's in pristine condition. No light damage, no water damage, and in those 8 or 9 years, we'd had like, just in the 8 years since, we'd had like almost like 800 inches of rain. And what it is, it brought it back into my house and tried to stick it under my sofa where it loves to. Actually, it spent last winter hiding under or in like the spaces in the padded arms and stuff like that, or in my very expensive sofa, which can't fit into most apartments or houses because it's so huge. That thing was a $5,000 sofa. And now it actually looks new because I bleached it. Found out but it's amazing how this thing, it seems to know what you like, what you prefer, just probably from odor. What you touch, what you like, but it also was taking things, because as I said before, I'm at 12 minutes. I've only got 3 minutes to sum up here. Like I said before, I was getting at that age and things were happening to where like I wasn't a total neat freak anymore. Like I wouldn't close up and lock my toolboxes at night, and in the morning I go like, hey, where did my package of cable ties go? Or hey, where did my 3/4 inch socket go? Hey, where did my 1/2 millimeter, 1 millimeter, whatever, screwdrivers go? I know I left a lighter on top of a pack of cigarettes right on my desk. Where the hell did they go? Not the cigarettes, but the lighter. It's actually, I found out that possums will actually get addicted to tobacco, and it's all the NEOTOMA CINEREA. All these things that I thought were me just getting old and, losing my short-term memory, which I still test really. I used to test perfect in short-term, long-term memory, total recall. And for whoever's listening here and might catch this, some guy accused me of reading off of a script over here, when actually what I'm doing is looking at myself instead of at the camera over here or whatever. But please, everybody, if you're over 30 or 40 or 50, if you think you're having memory problems, you might want to keep an eye out for the NEOTOMA CINEREA, who may have invaded your space. They're complete vegans and stuff like that. That makes them hard to trap. They're very wary of traps. And lately they haven't been too much problem, because this latest generation is clearly retarded. Something happened, when the mother, when she was in pregnancy. But I've figured out the only way I can get rid of them, although they're not much of a nuisance lately and stuff, because I've learned to control, but they're still a nuisance, is to poison them with something like, powdered lead and, stuck in a banana or something like that. I'll get around to it, but I've always kind of lived with nature and put up with its, eccentric, behaviors. But I just want you to ask yourself, am I really losing my memory, or has a pack rat moved into under my house or near me? And because they will wait for you to open the door and get to your house, and they will take the things because they go by smell a lot. They will take the things that you touch a lot and stuff the most, and they will hide them outside, inside. They're pack rats. So ask yourself, is it memory loss, or is it NEOTOMA CINEREA?